Okay, this video is just going to walk you through some really important links. All of these, the words in this chart are linked to other documents. Um, and you'll also find this information embedded deeper within the slide deck for this week and for next week. But I'm the kind of person as a student, I want to know why I'm doing something, what I'm going to have to do with something, where I'm going with something. And so I'm going to provide that with you to you way up front. Okay. So at this point, you should have watched a video about the Gothic elements. And you should have practiced trying to find those Gothic elements in a really short film. And so the reason why this is all happening is because you're going to have to give a presentation. So I'm going to open up that doc so that you can see it. And we'll kind of talk through what you're going to have to do. So this is a 100-point presentation. Your essay for Raisin in the Sun was 100 points. And then this presentation is also 100 points. So this is a really big deal. The prompt says, in this unit, you will read a Gothic story. As you read, you will identify and analyze Gothic elements. You will then determine a theme and consider the impact of the Gothic elements on the reader. You'll demonstrate your understanding by delivering a presentation with Google Slides using Flipgrid. You'll summarize and analyze the assigned text, determine which traits are present, show the effects of the trait on the text and or theme. There's an example of what that means. You will have to cite one piece of textual evidence per trait as it appears in each text. There are some directions here that tell you what to do to begin. To begin the actual end project, you're going to have to read your story. You're going to have to chart the elements, the Gothic elements of your story. You're going to be looking to identify the following items. Circle and define any difficult vocabulary words, identify Gothic elements present in the story, summarize the key events that take place in the story, determine the author's theme and message. You're going to then create a presentation, deliver your presentation in Flipgrid, and be done. All of these things I'm going to teach you how to do. But this part of this video is really so that you know where you're going, so that you know what you're going to have to do. Okay, so that's the project that you're going to be creating. Okay, you have a rubric, which is going to show you how you're going to get graded. You're going to get graded on the explanation of your ideas and information. So how clearly and completely can you address the criteria that is on the assignment sheet? How clearly and logically can you make a connection between your Gothic elements and the theme of your story? Okay. How well can you organize everything in your presentation? Can you organize it clearly, concisely, so that the audience can follow and understand your line of reasoning? Do you spend an appropriate amount of time on all of your elements? What about the presentation style? Are you choosing words that are precise and appropriate to the context of the presentation? Are you using well-chosen visual elements like pictures and GIFs to enhance the understanding of the topic and add interest to the presentation? Are you smoothly integrating that media throughout the presentation? Okay. I'll also be looking at your poise as a reader. Are you poised? Are you confident? You will have to have your face in the presentation. So are you using consistent? Do you look professional? Eye contact is a little different this year. You're not going to actually deliver it in class. But will you be professional? Are you using meaningful and natural hand gestures? Are you speaking fluidly, adjusting your pace for emphasis? Do you look like you're enthusiastic and you're interested in the subject matter? Do you demonstrate a solid command of formal English? Okay. All of these things are things that we're looking for in this presentation, and this is how you're going to get graded. When it comes to creating your slideshow in Google Slides, which you're all going to be doing, there are some tips that I've given you, and I'm going to lay out for you what your title slide should look like, what your summary slide should look like, what your theme statement should look like, and what your Gothic element slides should look like. So I'm going to show you, not only am I going to teach you, but I'm going to create a presentation and deliver the presentation so that you have a model and an example of exactly what you need to do to get an A on this project. This is a list of the Gothic elements in a Google Doc. So you've already watched a video that outlined everything in a really cool example with fun colors and GIFs. This is just a straight up basic Google Doc with all of that information. So if you don't want to go back and watch the video and click on pause, this is a great document to have open while you're reading your story. You can have that Google Doc in a separate slide and kind of bounce back and forth. You can do a split screen where you have this on half of your screen, your story on half of the screen. So this is really helpful for you. All right. You're probably going to be wondering, what short story am I going to have to read? This Google Sheet is available for all of you. Listen, I'm pretty sure that this is view only. You're going to have to help me out. I don't know if that means you can click on the links. I don't know if that means you can edit it. Okay. It's very important that you don't edit this document because, as you can see, there's a lot of really important information. Okay. So let's go through this. So you'll notice that this chart is set up with the title, the author, an audio link, and the student. All right. So let's say my name is Leslie. She's going to come down here. She's going to check out her name, and she's going to see that she's going to be reading a story called The Picture in the House. It was written by H.P. Lovecraft, and there's a YouTube video. So this is what I would want her to do. I'd want her to open up this document. I'd want her to come back. I want her to open up that YouTube video. Okay, and what I'm going to want her to do, she's going to see right away, this is a 20-minute short story. By the way,
this is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the...
Short stories are totally not short. They're just not novels, right? So novels might take you weeks to get through. A short story might take you an hour. This one is read in 20 minutes. All of you have different stories of different lengths. So what I would want you to do, the best thing to do, would be to have her story open and then click on play.
Public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. That's LibriVox.org. Recorded by me, Glenn Halster, also known as Smokestack Jones. smokestackjones@gmail.com. You'll also find my blog at toomuchjohnson.blogspot.com.
Blah, blah, blah.
The Picture in the House by H.P. Lovecraft. Searchers after horror hunt strange far places. For them are the catacombs.
Okay, so you can see that you can listen while you're reading. The reason that that's important is because, let's say right away I notice that there's an unusual structure or a castle. Oh, look at that, a castle. I would totally stop here and I would write. Let's see if it'll work. You can insert a comment this way. For some reason, my shortcut isn't working. So I would be like, castle, this is a feature, right? And when you're done, you hopefully will have a whole bunch of comments that show horror and gloom, woman in distress, unrequited love. And by the time you're done, you've got all of the Gothic elements totally noted, okay, while you're listening. And then you can just hit pause along the way. Everybody does have a video linked, so that's a really good thing. And everybody should have a copy of this story, okay? One thing I didn't show is this story belongs to me. I would really love it if you guys could make a copy of it. I won't be able to see it. I won't be able to look at it, okay? But by making a copy of it, that means it's yours, because I'll be using these in years in the future, right? So I don't want to have Leslie's work and then share that with future classes next year, right? Okay. So there is a list of that. Get rid of these. All right. Two of the things that you're going to be filling out. Okay. So once you've gone through your story and you've read it and you've made those comments, or maybe you don't even want to make comments, you just want to highlight certain things, that's fine too. You are eventually going to have to fill out this chart. You're going to put your name, you're going to put the title and the author, you're going to write your theme statement, more about that later. You're going to be keeping track of your evidence. So when you have evidence of a castle or mystery and suspense, you're going to lay these out into this chart. This is job number one. And eventually you're going to come back and you're going to think, what is the impact on me? The fact that it's in a castle, how does that impact me? What's the effect? And you'll do that for as many as you possibly can. You will not have all of these filled out. It is possible that you don't have a story that has a woman in distress. So please don't feel like you have to have every single one of these filled out. I do have a chart that shows me which stories have which ones. So I do know which ones are there, okay? But you may not have all of them filled out. Again, I'm only showing you this chart right now so that you know what's coming. You will be getting a grade on having a chart completed and filled out, okay? You're also going to have to summarize your story. Almost every student in the class has a separate story that you're going to be reading. So when you give your presentation, it's going to be important that you summarize your story, because I have already read all of them, but your classmates haven't, and they're all really good stories. So what we're going to give you to help you with writing that summary is a few charts. This is called a skeleton chart, where you're going to be listing the main characters in your story and describing them. What do they look like? Are they boys, girls? Are they rich, poor? Whatever you can. What's the setting? When does it take place? Is it in the 1700s? Where does it take place on the countryside hill? What are the main events? What are important details for each main event? What is the conflict or the problem that's happening? And what's the final resolution? That will lead you to coming up with a theme statement. So based on everything that happened in the story, what is something that we should all learn from this story? That's the theme statement. More about that later. You're also going to be filling out a chart that helps you summarize in just a few sentences. Somebody wanted, but then so. Some of you who were in Lit Lang 2 last year, this might sound familiar. A lot of teachers use this they use their 5 fingers. They use their thumb and they say someone, and then their second finger wanted, but yet so, and they kind of splay out their fingers in their hands. So you're going to be filling that out, and then you're going to be writing a summary paragraph. So based on your somebody wanted, but so then, and adding information from your summary chart, you're going to end up coming up with a summary paragraph. And this is an example, and we're going to build this example together, okay? Again, these links are just here, and this video is just here to give you an idea of where we're going, okay? We have 2 weeks left in class, and technically, we don't have school on the last Wednesday of the quarter. That's the SAT for seniors. Probably that Thursday and Friday I'm going to make as makeup days. So we really only have about 7 days for this unit, and normally we would have about double that, right? We'd have about 14, about 2.5 weeks. So you will have a lot of work to do for the class. Fully expect to be working about 100 minutes a day, and let me know as problems come up. But this is here for you to kind of go back and check things out, okay? Hopefully this video was helpful, and it gives you an idea of where we're going and what your end product will be for this unit.